Welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor podcast. We are doing a live video podcast this week, so you can put faces to names for once. I am John, my co-host is Andy, and tonight we're going to talk about the premiere of Survivor Cambodia, also known as Second Chance. Hopefully you spent the entire off season following all the stuff we did on purplerockpodcast.com, but if you're new to us, then welcome. We're finally going to talk about a new Survivor episode again. Andy, what did you think of that premiere?
I was impressed, actually. And part of it is because we've been waiting so long that I was happy that it came back. A big part of it is it looked phenomenal, right?
Oh my God. I'm an RTV nerd, a radio television nerd. Who actually listens to radio anymore? Anyway, and it was beautiful. For those of you that are into that sort of thing, they shot the challenge in what's known as the golden hour, because it's like sunlight is perfect, everything looks golden and beautiful, and it looked awesome. And then they super saturated some of the scenes that just looked great.
Especially in the intro, yeah.
Yes, it was beautiful. How does this show not win Emmys?
Because the Emmys are stupid.
Yes, that too.
They hate the idea that they have to give awards to reality TV shows, so they just check the same box every time, or almost every time, and it just so happens to be a show that really has no cachet or, popularity, so The Amazing Race is of no threat to people. You give it to a show that's been doing well, that won its demo again last night, suddenly you're almost accepting that reality TV is a thing. Give it to The Amazing Race, no one cares.
15 years later, Survivor's still winning its time slot. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I'll say another reason why it looks so good to me is I spent the summer watching a lot of old Survivor.
Ooh, pre-HD.
Yeah, pre-HD is rough, man.
It is. It's tough.
But, I mean, besides how it looked, and again, it looked phenomenal, and not just the look, it was great television just in terms of moments, so much tension, the cold open, that was fantastic.
It was, and it was a little melodramatic, but that's Probst, that's what he does. But it still, it got me hyped. I was ready. I was like, yes, sell me your hyper-saturated melodrama. I'm good.
Well, everybody's rushing out and swimming and all of that. No, I was
shots and, so good.
Yeah, so we are excited about this season, everybody, I think, that watches Survivor.
Yeah, and did you get the same thing I did where, as soon as Probst starts yelling at them, to get off the boat, get the supplies and all that stuff. I was like, okay, yes, we're back. This is what I was craving. That's what I wanted. I wanted Probst yelling at people for ridiculous things. Spencer grabbing the chicken! Those sorts of things.
Watch your heads! Yeah, as much, as we give Probst, and we will continue, throughout the season and our lives, he knows what he's doing in moments of that. He knows how to get you hyped, and it worked.
You know what? He is my Kobe, because I respect him at this point, even though at times I will still make fun of him just because, habits.
Yeah, well, and also he has glaring flaws and preferences and stuff that frankly run very counter to our own. But he protects the show, he knows the show, he can help create good television because he is, more than just the host, he's the producer. Mm-hmm. And it was on display last night.
Well, go. I'm gonna interrupt you.
Okay.
Hey, this is fun because it doesn't get edited out. So one of the things that I remembered now about all returnee seasons is that I'm going to miss a lot of these people a lot more. In newbie seasons, there's going to be a crowd that I like. There's some percentage that I'm like, I don't want these people to go home. This season, that's 60% of the cast.
Yeah, no, what other season would you really care at all about the first boot? It's almost impossible because they're the first boot. Unless they are Courtney Moon, of course.
Yeah.
But we literally are not given much of them, and the show doesn't set them up so that we feel bad. But now, there's going to be a lot of people, but that's what I love about All-Star seasons. That's why I hate when they dilute them with all those, 10 other people I don't give enough about. It matters. It always matters, because either you're upset that somebody left, or maybe you're pretty excited that somebody got beaten. But it all matters. Now, at a certain point in the season, we'll probably get to some doldrums where it's okay, yada, yada, yada. But not now. Even if you were not pro Vetus, and I think you were lukewarm, and other of our viewers were probably anti, some were pro. I was more pro. he was a big character. A big potential player, and he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, is there's going to be most of these pre-merge boots, probably, unless it goes a certain way, which I don't think it will. You're going to be like, oh man, we missed out on seeing more of person X that got voted out this week.
Yeah. So, while it was really exciting to have Survivor back, while it looked phenomenal, while there was great drama, I kind of feel like there was only one strategic thing to discuss, or at least one major thing. So there's probably some margin things, and there's also exciting things that we're going to get to. But I was thinking we just dive right into Vetus going home.
Yeah, and there was some issues with the polling on our site that we're a little suspicious about. We had a prediction poll up on our site, which is at purplerockpodcast.com, and we noticed soon after we put it up, there was a large majority that voted Vetus, and we got really suspicious because we would have totally understood if it was Cass, because...
and she was the other large majority.
Yeah, and we were like, okay, well, fine. I understand why you would pick Cass. I don't think it would be Cass to go first, but I get why you would say that. So then when it was Vetus, I get why Vetus would be first, but I don't get why such a vast majority would be like, oh yeah, Vetus is the one. He's gone.
Yeah, it was like 42% Vetus, and like, I think 18% Abby, and then just a couple other people. I'm like, really? Yeah, and again, I don't dispute any single person's reason for picking Vetus. It happened, for one, and there was a lot of stuff pre-game that suggested that he could be in trouble. But just that it became such this, like, instant groupthink that it was just kind of like, And then he kind of started looking into it a bit more. There were spoilers out there.
Yeah. And according to you, I haven't looked into this, but I guess there's spoilers potentially for next week as well that are fairly common, so we might skip that poll next week. Maybe bring it back after that, though, because it is fun.
Yeah, so honestly, people let us know if you want us to try it. What we just want to avoid is we would hate to spoil it for people. We hate for people who not want to come to our site because they're afraid that spoilers lurk. And we also would hate to go to our site because we think spoilers lurk, because spoilers suck. Yeah. And if you are the type of person that decides you want to do spoilers, just shut up is all.
Yeah, just go talk about them where people care to talk about them, not to us. And that was the problem too, is that, halfway through that episode, both of us were saying, okay, well, they were right. It's Vetus. So, yeah, when you were primed for it, you could see it coming.
Yeah. But, I do think the episode itself set up, it was clearly Vetus or Abby. And I think the big question coming out of that is how much of Vetus going home was a result of his actions in the 3 days that he was on there, and how much was it predetermined by things that happened before the game started, and then, the hands he was dealt when he got there.
It's partly pregame. If you watched those pregame alliance videos, you know what his pregame alliance was. And I think there's probably some evidence to suggest that he had links with Sierra based on some of those pregame interviews that we saw. But, he's screwed by that because he didn't have the numbers with his alliance. He had what amounted to a 4-person alliance. Was it even 4? Yeah, it's 4-person alliance counting him. And you still need numbers there. So you can say, yeah, he got screwed by pregame alliances, but at the same time, there were free agents there, and he thought he was safe enough with his alliance that he didn't work hard enough to solidify those other free agent votes. So,
yeah. See, I'm not going to say he was screwed by, the way things shook out or pre-gaming or anything like that. And to his credit in his exit interviews, he's also not saying that he was screwed. But I will say that I think the story we were fed is probably half truth at best. I think the people that were, at least the majority of the people that voted for Vetus last night wanted to vote for Vetus before he had said anything to them. For reasons like the way he played before, for reasons like the rumors and, true or not, I'm not saying they're not true, of the pre-gaming he was doing, maybe with Brad Culpepper or whatever. But, we saw it. We saw it in pre-game interviews. Shireen and Kelly Wentworth they were targeting Vetus. And I think on the preseason podcast, or at least within our own discussions, I suggested, wrongly, that I was like, well, that's all well and good, but it's not going to be up to them, so I'm not worried about it. And bravo for them, it was up to them. So
it was up to them.
They saw Vetus as a target. Because he, if you look at the other side, he's far more threatening, strategic than any of them. And also because he came off as somebody untrustworthy and smarmy. The episode kind of fed us like he dug his own grave. He was very smarmy. He turned people off. I think they were already turned off. And some of it, when I say pregame, is Ponderosa, because it sounds like a lot of the conversations was they were just getting a bad vibe from him there. So, yeah. I mean, that's on him. Like, I'm not, like, I want to make sure that I'm not, like, suggesting that this isn't, the fault of Vetus. What I am suggesting is I think it's less like he did this to himself in these 3 days so much as this was primed to happen to him. The other side struck fast and first. And as you suggest, he didn't get himself out of that trouble. There were opportunities there, but I don't think it's as simple as they were creeped out by him helping them with yoga, so Vetus went home.
Maybe all that time at Ponderosa when he was doing those tricep dip pelvic thrusts, he could have been maybe putting some thought into how others were perceiving him instead. Might have gone a little further.
Yeah, but, as you well know, a lot of the people that were targeting him were going to target people like him, so, and I mean, I want to make it clear, none of this is unfair. All's fair in Love and Survivor. Those people now control the game, and good for them. I think this one especially, and it was probably going to be true of whoever went home first, is a result as much of things that happened before, they rode the boat up and saw Jeff as it was anything after. And he wasn't in an impossible situation. He could have won over, Spencer. He could have kept Varner perhaps, but he was in a rough spot because of, the other side outplayed him.
And, we did have our conspiracy theory before the season even started that this tribe is made up of the people that it's made up of because of Varner admitting to that pregame alliance. So, maybe
and it worked. We got the drama.
Yeah. Varner spilled the beans and they were like, oh, sweet. I know what we're going to do then. Let's set this up.
Yeah. But just getting back, the episode really set it up like Vetus was just creeping everybody out. From Vetus's exit interviews, it sounds like Shireen was going after him in the first half hour they were out there. And, we'll get a bit to this later, but, good on you, Shireen. So I think everything after that, when somebody's already a target, when you're already priming yourself to take somebody out, everything they do is going to annoy you. Especially when the reason you're targeting him is you feel like he's a smarmy manipulator who will do anything to try and win you over, right? So I don't think the yoga and the touching and the, how's your body and all that was really the reason why he went home. I think once they were already anti-Vetus, which I think they were before he was ever on their tribe, they're just like, this guy again.
Yeah, so this is actually what Shireen was a victim of last season, where once someone decided Shireen's annoying, everybody's like, oh yeah, now we're going to look for Shireen being annoying, we're all going to roll our eyes about it. So
yeah, I mean, it's a standard just group dynamics things. This isn't like Vetus was a victim of something spectacular. It's what happened. It happens all the time in Survivor. If once people turn against you, it's tough to turn it around.
I like how you still talk over me.
It's not going to stop.
No, it won't.
You should be able to see that I'm still talking. You're talking over me.
It keeps showing me for some reason. I don't know what I look like. I'm looking at a mirror. It's weird. Anyway, that's going to be fun to edit out. So now I totally lost my train of thought. Screw it. Let's move on.
Well, so basically my math is I think it was probably 90% pregame stuff. And that includes, the impression he was making on people when they were around but not allowed to talk. And then 10%, what happened there. He had a chance probably to change his situation, and he failed at that. Do you think that going straight to tribal after the immunity hurt him?
It certainly couldn't have helped, right?
Yeah.
Because from what we read in some interviews today, or I guess recaps, whatever you want to call them. I guess from the reporters that were out there, the Survivor media types that were out there, it sounds like at some point during that tribal council, Varner was like, hey, time out. PG, Kelly, are you guys voting for who I think you're voting for? And when they said yes, he was like, okay. And everyone freaked out because they knew that something was up. Varner was flipping. And you have a very good theory on that you should tell people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's a theory at this point. Varner was not going to have a tie. Jeff Varner, had many plans when he headed out on that island, but going home as a result of a purple rock was not one of them. 15 years ago, he went home because of a tie vote. It wasn't going to happen again. So once he knew that it was 5-5, he was like flipping. So I don't think Jeff Varner necessarily fully cast his lot with one side or the other, or that, that Vetus necessarily lost him. Is that Vetus didn't get somebody else, and Varner wasn't going to risk it at all. And basically what happened is right before they were about to vote, they take a break. Everybody doesn't talk so they can change tapes, which I was surprised to learn they shoot on tape.
Yeah, they still use tape. That's weird, right?
Yeah, I think so, especially with all those cameras, but maybe that's why. I don't know enough about this. It's HED though. And then they come back, and usually it's just like, Jeff's like, okay, let's go vote. But if anybody wants to talk, and then Varner's like, yeah, Jeff, I got a question. And that's when that happened. Apparently Vetus had a relationship with Spencer. I kind of feel like Spencer was always planning to throw him over, so that wasn't the spot that he could have won. But, maybe he could have won back Abby, They've had a relationship,
Is that something you want to do, though?
Yeah, or actually, no, the big one is PG.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like also when she cast her vote, she was not happy about it. This wasn't the way she wanted to go. So, given the traditional 2 hours, maybe Vetus could have, repaired that relationship. Because by all indications, it sounds like Vetus knew he was being targeted. Doesn't sound like he thought that he was going to get the majority of votes. But, he could have put in some work to solidify that, especially since people give away their intentions a lot more in the hours leading up to Tribal Council than they might in the hours leading up to a challenge. Interestingly, the reason why they went straight to Tribal Council wasn't anything about trying to bust up pregame alliances or anything like that.
And which is what you would think, but it was just a matter of convenience. I think, though, that was one of those things where it can be two things. It was they wanted to get that golden hour shot that I was talking about earlier because it did look very pretty. I already discussed it.
Yeah, and torches are far more interesting lit up when it's not sunlight out. It's just a thing I've heard.
Yeah. I've heard that fire looks nicer the darker it gets. But yeah, it was the same thing. They wanted the beautiful shots. They got it. And then they were like, okay, well now we have to do a tribal council. It's getting pretty dark. Let's go right now.
Yeah. Now the one thing, if it was planned, and it sounds like it wasn't, it sounds like it's seriously just a practical matter of it's night now and we can't film, at night at camp for a strategy discussion, so we got to go to tribal council. I don't think it's a good pre-game alliance busting up technique to not give them more strategy time. Because at that point, don't you just default to what your pre-game plans were?
Yeah, pretty much. Unless the one possible thing that it could do is if your alliance hadn't already picked the target, although really, if your alliance hasn't picked the target, your alliance has failed. Then it could screw your plans up, potentially.
Yeah. So I don't feel like it's a move I'd like to see going forward. In fact, I'm encouraged to know that it was, a practical concern that chose it. Because, I do worry that, that some of the best moments in Survivor history is the scrambling leading up to Tribal Council.
Right.
But I was fine not this time because, I hope there's a lot of different stuff this season.
Yeah, and one of the things that is going on this season, at least in the first episode, was the old school versus new school plot line, which I kind of expected that we were going to get. Were you surprised that we got that?
No, I mean, we've said in the past, the biggest, split demographically in any season of Survivor is never male, female, or anything like that. It's always young, old. And, obviously this is more about, older season versus newer season necessarily than age, but the way math works, typically if you're from an older season, you are older now.
Yes. Unless you're Wigglesworth, who was super young in Borneo, and thus is, in the middle now.
But she seems like an old,
Watch where you go
whatever age she is. Well, because she doesn't own a TV. She doesn't know how computers work. She is old.
Mm-hmm. Just a reminder.
In fact, am I older than Kelly Wigglesworth? It's possible, right?
I don't know. You should ask someone who's good at math, so not you.
Or who knows how old Kelly Wigglesworth is would be another big step. Although I don't feel like I was older than her back in whatever. But yeah, that is the story, at least of the first part of the season. And wow, what a shock that the old school was trounced by new school players.
Yeah, I don't imagine that that's going to be an ongoing plot. I think it was just for episode 1, maybe even next week too, just as an introduction to these people again, a reintroduction. Yeah. If you set it up as, oh, I'm the old schooler, that you have at least some general narrative for that person that you can start and build from. Unless you are Stephen Fishbach, who is apparently getting the exact same narrative that he got in Token Team.
That he will not be the last. Actually, before we move on to Fishbach, just quickly, was targeting Vetus the right move?
Yeah, I mean, because again, the first vote, just as long as it's not you, who cares? I mean, you can course correct after that first vote, unless you're in a just dramatic minority. There's still time. I mean, survive the first vote, because all alliances are just hypothetical until that first vote hits anyway. After that happens, you see where the chips have all fallen. You can course correct then.
So, what do we often say is the first rule of Survivor?
Don't play your post-merge game pre-merge.
Is this that?
No, because you have to take somebody out. And I don't think it was.
Right, but
I don't want to sit next
Abby Maria's sitting right there. She's already causing trouble.
Yeah, but you're not saying, I don't want to sit next to Vetus at the end, or I'm worried about him in the post-merge individual immunities. You're like, just get him out because he's got an alliance.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just asking the question. I also don't feel like it was the wrong move to target Vetus. I also feel like a lot of these rules will be different. I hope so. I think Survivor is going to go to great lengths to force people to change their playbooks. But, the argument against voting out a player like Vetus is it weakens you for challenges. The counter argument that I'm sure, Shireen might have even made on the island is, who gives an F about these challenges right now? There's going to be a swap.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the tribe we have now won't necessarily be the tribe we have in 3 days, in 6 days, or whatever. Especially a player like Shireen or Kelly Wentworth who, know what's going down in terms of Survivor. Terry or Wu might not understand that. So then, yes, if it's like we need to get rid of a threat for, our continued existence, because if you're not a challenge beast, then what good to you is it to promote the idea of let's get rid of people who are bad at challenges? Get rid of them one now because they might end up on the other side. They might be able to hook up with the people like Shireen was talking about, like Sierra, or, I don't know if the episode made the connection from Sierra to Monica, but that exists. So I think absolutely for Shireen, for Kelly, for Spencer, right move. Was it the right move for Jeff Varner?
Yeah, because again, he survived that first vote. Same with PG. Like, as long as it's not them, they did the right thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. PG and Varner had the power within them to decide, it's not going to be us. It's going to be Abby. And PG is the one person whom I wonder if it was the right move. I think my decision is, sure, because they could flip next week and give her to Abby. So it's not that big a deal. And doing so would gain a level of power.
Exactly.
But do you want to be the person that's on the receiving end of Abby Maria's benefit of the doubt?
I'm actually a little surprised that PG didn't push harder for it to be Abby.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they went right to tribal council. So she had no opportunity to make that push.
Yeah. So, I mean, my final assessment is, sure. I mean, you got a win under your belt. Now they have a little bit of control. What will happen next is what will determine whether it was truly a good move or maybe perhaps a bit much. But yeah, let's jump over to Bayonne for a second.
Let's talk the boring tribe.
We got to do it a little bit. Because there was one element of it, we're talking about how much we love the episode. There were some that made you a little bit sad, right?
A little bit sad. You know what's funny is I love Token Teens. It's one of my favorite all newbie seasons. I love that cast so much. It's one of my favorite of all time. Steven is a part of that too. I wasn't super excited for Steven to come back for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's been so long since I watched Token Teens. But man, from the like first or second scene that he was back in, I'm like, I'm all in, Steven. You're welcomed back in. I want the love of Steven in my life again. And plus, you know you're gonna sell me with the clumsy nerd edit, which is inexplicable because, as you pointed out, he's now the alpha nerd. He does CrossFit. He's actually an athletic nerd.
Well, I did point that out, and I meant it at the time, especially, you know, when he's next to Rob Cesternino or whatever. But this episode, he could not be more of a beta nerd.
But at the same time, you pick the scenes that support the narrative that you want to give. I'm sure you could have, if you were showing that, you know, he's progressed, he's not the same scrawny nerd that he was before, you could have shown him being competent in some way. They found the scene where he's going, chop, chop. Like, he doesn't understand how to hold an axe. Yeah, it was funny.
Was there just one scene, John?
They found the scenes, plural, that supported that narrative. And I laughed. It was funny. And apparently Steven did too, to his credit. He gets it. It's just a show. It's funny. But it did, you know, he got my empathy this episode. That, you know, I'm a sucker for the nerd of the group. So.
You're wonderful in that way with your empathy. I do think, you naturally gravitate, to that. I am a horrific bully, apparently, because for me, no, I mean, honestly, I was cringing. I felt bad for good old Steven. I did. But, you know, is he doomed? Is there a way out here for Steven? Because it does not look good.
You know what? His edit wasn't that bad. It was funny.
Was it?
It was.
No, it was funny. Absolutely, it was funny. But was it not funny? And I think it was about as bad an edit as you can get in an episode in which you were not removed.
Yeah, well, it was the Dodo Bird music playing, which always a bad sign. But remember back to last season, Mike ate a scorpion in the premiere and he's puking all over the place. Cochran turned into a lobster in his premiere. There's precedent for recovery from a ridiculous first episode.
Yeah, no, I do think he can recover, absolutely. But I do also wonder if you're underselling just how bad it was. We also got Kimmy freaking Kappenberg totally calling out his spot in his game. He's going to look for an idol, which I don't know why she did scare quotes. Literally, he's going to look for an idol. Jeff Probst buried in the middle of a dirty lake, you know. You're fooling nobody. And what really happened with Steven, which I think was the most cringy of the moments, was he clearly just reverted back to everything he was afraid of and the nerd he was, instead of, you know, the confident wine and cheeser podcaster, you know, probably a successful, you know, professional person.
And he's just podcaster's arrogance.
Exactly. Come on, man. You're letting the podcasters down, Steven. And your word sympathy is true. I totally get it because, wow, he got a worse draw than Vetus. Cause, yeah, which of the guys is he going to relate to? These three Adonises? Or, you know, two plus a former aged Adonis?
Adonis.
Yeah, or, you know, JT's older uncle. It's just, yeah, it was a tough spot for him. And I love that the episode said it's like, well, I can't really do much with trees. I can't really build a shelter. No, I don't really know how to weed palm fronds. It's like, what can you do, nerd? What can you do?
I'm not so good at outside. So,
which was his story before. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but you're an all-star, aren't you? Do something.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that might actually be the worst thing about that edit is he was searching for the idol right away. Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it was a horrible thing. I mean, even if he found it, it wouldn't have been a good thing. Because what was super horrible about it is he could sense that socially he wasn't fitting in. And if Steven was watching other person doing this and broadcasting, he would have been the absolute first person to be like, no, you need to be doing the social thing. You need to be integrating. And look, unless he was just that afraid, he's like, I don't care. I need 3 more days. It's like, dude, you need something. You can't do that. You're causing the very thing you were afraid of. And it was just like this snowball thing. And my favorite part of the entire edit is when he himself recognized that.
Yeah.
It's like, they're like, no, I'm looking for that. Damn it, Steven!
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
He knew what was happening.
So besides the fact that Steven is now the outcast of the tribe and everybody else is bonded around that, do we know anything else about the Bayonne tribe?
The one other major bit of information that we got is that the Alphas plus Keith seem to have formed an alliance over there. And we'd gotten hints from those pregame interviews, especially Jeremy's, that this might be coming. And I kind of like it for all parties involved in that alliance. What about you?
It's the perfect thing that every one of them should have done.
Yep.
So, it's kind of the scenario that I constructed for Joe long in the offseason. I think as World Apart was ending, when everybody's like, Joe's got no chance. Like, no, he's got a chance. He needs to be around some other alphas, which there are plentiful. You know, there's Savage, there's Terry, there's, Jeremy, and they all going to be each other's meat shield. And yeah, that's what they're doing. And it's just like it behooves a woman like Shireen to form a female alliance in which she is no longer, a weakness, but strength. Alpha males can do the same as long as, there's not 4 of them in a group of 10. It's like, instead of attacking each other and trying to take this, let's attack other people and bond, and we'll get to each other eventually.
Right.
Or, you could be my shield and I'll make you look bad in other ways. If there's 3 of us, then physicality means nothing.
Mm.
That's like Boston Rob teaming with Grant, and now I will let you talk.
And I think Joe's the big target in any iteration of an alliance.
Yep.
He's going to be the target just because he's such a very visible physical threat. So
he's big.
For Jeremy,
real big.
For Jeremy, who is ripped, not as tall, but ripped, you want Joe on your alliance because otherwise you are the clear physical threat target for the people that care about those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think actually Jeremy's move is probably the first indicator we've gotten this season of somebody learning the proper lessons from their previous ouster. Obviously it's early, I'm not criticizing. In fact, there might be one other we talk about, but last time he tried to align with people that were less threatening than he, and suddenly a Emerge came along and look, who's the biggest threat? In fact, maybe sitting around in Ponderosa in San Juan del Sur, talking with Josh, we've been like, man, it would have been better if it was me and Josh instead of be like, oh no, now you're the person that knows the game and you got to go. So this was his plan going in. He wanted to hide behind other alphas, and it could work for him.
Yeah, and it works for Keith because in that group, aren't you always going to make it to the final 3? If that 5 actually holds, aren't you always in the final 3?
No, I'm not going to say it.
But that group won't hold to the final 5. But I'm just saying.
No group we're seeing now will hold. If a group that we've seen in episode 1 holds to the end, then Survivor has failed at his job.
Yes, that would be South Pacific, which was Survivor failing miserably at its job.
Yeah, so the other thing in Bayonne that kind of happened was, surprise to nobody, Savage is setting himself up as the leader.
Dad.
Yeah, and people are perfectly happy to let him do that because most people run away from that experience. How are you feeling about that? Are you bothered that Andrew Savage is talking about families and alphas and that he doesn't trust Stephen Fishback?
How, he has to figure out a way to bond with the people that are going to be in his alliance. I thought he did the best that he can. I mean, what's he going to talk to 24, whatever, how old he is, year old Joe? He's going to say like, hey, my daughters thought you were really cute, which A, bonds a little bit with Joe, but B, sort of sets him apart as like, oh, I'm not a target here. I'm someone who admires you. You seem like a good guy. My daughters like you.
I'm a guy with 18-year-old daughters. Like, I'm an old-ass guy now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we talked about this earlier. What a peak dad move that is, huh?
Oh, we call you the dad of our group all the time. You will never be the Savage level dad.
Yeah, no, it was just like, his daughters were sitting there watching it next to him and just mortified. And that
Yes.
must be so gratifying as a parent. Uh,
It's every parent's dream to embarrass
I
their
mean,
child
once
on
they
that.
reach that age, we don't know. Our children aren't embarrassed by us yet. They think we are, gods or something. Uh, yes, people call me the dad because it's a way of saying I'm lame. I know I'm on to you guys. I'm not the lame one. John's the one that doesn't understand the Snapchats and the kids these days. Um, I don't understand Snapchat.
You listen to Taylor Swift, though.
That probably makes it me more dad, actually. Because I listen to it because my little boys love it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Savage doing that. What he is doing by setting up this team and family dynamic, and, obviously setting one person aside, which sucks to be that person, but maybe don't be outside when these conversations are happening, is he's setting up conditions in which he's a strength instead of a weakness. Instead of sitting around, like, oh, we should get rid of Savage, he's trying to foster an environment in which pro-Savage ideals will flourish.
Pro-Savage ideals. You make him sound like he's a leader of a government or some sort of political party.
He could be. Come on, look at that speech. He's rallying the troops. That would have fundraised. But yeah, like, if you're Andrew Savage, you don't get to hide. You can't play that game. So why not try to make people feel good and use the charisma that's probably gotten you decently ahead in life? And if you're targeting somebody like Steven, well, that's fine. That's Survivor.
And I think really the speech that he gave wasn't, the speech to everybody else was not, let's target Steven.
Steven was there when he made the family speech.
So he says, it's 10 of us guys, we're strong, we're going to do this, we're going to stick together. It's basically his exact speech that he gave to Morgan. He just changed the number from 8 to 10 this time.
Yeah, and like setting this up as though, it's rah, 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 we're not going to do underhanded things, we're going to fight and be a team. Yeah, that's setting it up so that they don't target him.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, you can trust me. I'm all in. I'm loyal to all of you somehow, which is totally impossible when it's time to vote.
Yeah, and we're not going to do underhanded, gamey strategy things that, frankly, are not my strong suit, because that would be bad. That's setting the terms and conditions. Now, the interesting thing will be what happens after a swap. And to be determined, because that doesn't work as well. It'd be great if it tried the same thing. It just doesn't exclude people. All right, guys, now this is the team. This is what we've been waiting for. I'm so happy that you guys are here.
Yeah. It would be funny, too, if he ended up in a tribe swap situation and his tribe is just all the betas. It's nothing but this scrawny, awful at challenges, physical non-threats, and he's like, come on, team, we can do this.
Well, if that happens, does he have the same look as when he sees the Outcasts roll back?
It's going to be pretty close. He might have the sad little face.
Yeah, and be like, these freaking dorks. But honestly, there aren't that many, so he could find some bonding. And, despite what people might think, I don't think he'd hate to be around Shireen.
No. Who would hate to be around Shireen?
Whoever. Yes. There's no documented proof that would ever happen on Survivor.
Yeah.
All right. So the next big thing that happened that I think is worth discussing was the big new twist of the season, how the idols work. What'd you think of that?
It worked out very well. I don't know that it's a good long-term thing to do. Like, I don't think I want to see this in every season, but it's a fun change. And especially, I think generally when you have returnees, you can experiment a little more because it's not their first rodeo. You can throw some things at them that you wouldn't necessarily do with a cast that has Rodneys and Joaquin.
Would you imagine this at San Juan del Sur? It just wouldn't break their brains.
It would. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's not even bring up San Juan del Sur.
Well, I'm bringing it up because the person that it involved.
Right. So, we had known in advance that this was happening because this was in one of Probst's pregame interviews.
Survivor themselves promoted it.
Yeah, it wasn't some spoiler or anything. So we knew it was going to be at the challenge, and one of our followers on Twitter very astutely pointed out, if you have these idols hidden at challenges, the women are likely going to be wearing bikinis. There's obviously some that don't. But the women are going to be wearing bikinis. Where are they going to hide the idol? Kelly Wentworth was wearing a bikini top, but she was wearing shorts. And why is that, Andy?
No, because she's the one that received the clue. She was able to plan ahead. The big question is, isn't it suspicious that Kelly is not wearing a bikini? But because Kelly is very smart, she came up with a reason.
And her reason was
lady issues.
I got girl problems. And brilliant excuse because A, that totally explains why you would wear shorts, and B, no further questions. Got it. Okay. Understood. Wear your shorts. We're cool.
Are you sure? Do you need to sit this one out? Yeah, so it's not just for skipping gym class anymore. Yeah. No, I honestly, I think this development, I mean, to your point, if it's a forever thing, it's no good, but no idol thing will ever be a forever thing. They have to continually evolve the idol because Survivor players figure them out. I thought tonight it was, or I guess last night, this week, phenomenal. I thought it was fantastic television. I thought her finding it, which her doing what Stephen Fishback, the know-it-all, could not, is coming up with a plausible reason why she's out there in a cover story. That's big. It's not a one-to-one comparison because Stephen can't sneak away because people are already suspicious about him. She can because she's in a better position, and apparently beach people don't ever do work anyway.
She was doing work. She was collecting coconuts every once in a while.
I think the beach people probably also doing things. It's just, in Terry's mind, if you're not doing what Terry's doing, you're not doing anything. And even if you are, you're probably not doing it as well as Terry.
Terry is also a dad.
Very much different kind of dad. Actually, you know what? He is a dad, and, let's not make fun of his kid.
No, I'm not.
I know you were. But yes, Terry is a dad, and I very much so. But yeah, I thought that was a great scene, as many idol scenes are. And, easily at that point, the greatest scene in Kelly Wentworth's Survivor history. Yeah. Low bar.
Yeah,
basically that, and rolling her eyes at Drew. And then just the tension that brought with it. I think that challenge itself, once you got to at least that part of it, probably might have been really dull. But it was phenomenal television. It's just like, oh my God, can she do it? She blew her chance. I'm like, ah. So I thought that was great. Maybe one too many cuts to her looking and all that. But in general, it was great. It added a level of tension to challenges that often aren't there because you and I barely care about them.
Well, and this is why Survivor is a great show, because they knew she had the clue. They had cameras fixed on her at every single angle. Once she hit that point in the challenge where the idol was hidden, they were not going to miss that shot. If she went for the idol, they were going to have a good angle of it. And you could see them keep focusing back on her. She's looking back. She's trying to figure out some reason she could slip back. And then just finally, that she's either going to make an attempt or she's just going to look back at it and then have to finish the challenge and be disappointed. But they'd set it up so much, you're like, she's going to try it. Maybe she's going to get caught, whatever. She's going to make the move. And she did.
And that's the tension that's going to be there. Are they going to do it? Can they do it? Is somebody going to notice? Is this going to be what, throws them off? And that, all great things. And it's heightened by the fact that if you don't do it now, that's it. Yeah. You got to go find another clue.
So that was the interesting thing, is that clue was...
It's not even a clue. It's the instructions, I guess, really.
Yeah. Clue. So, it was very specific to that challenge. So next challenge, that item or that obstacle, whatever it is no longer there. That clue's now worthless. So if you don't make your move, that's it. It's done. Your window's just closed.
Yeah, the only value at that point is the knowledge that this is how idols work, and now you need to keep an eye open for other people. And apparently, it was only hidden for her tribe. There wasn't another one for Bayon there, because if they don't get the signal that an instruction has been found, they don't hide an idol. So there can't be two hanging out there for you to grab or something like that.
Oh, I guess because the one tribe couldn't tell the other tribe anyway. But I mean, I would still hide it just because on the off chance, say they're both on the platform at the beginning, Kelly whispers something to Jeremy on the other tribe. Hey, Jeremy, look for the idol at the thing,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, or if it's not tribe specific, maybe you tell your partner and then they try to find it. But can you imagine? I just gotta go over here.
Running over to help the other team. Yeah, like suddenly Spencer's like, hey, guys, I'll be right back. I just gotta help the other team put their little challenge beam thing together and I'll be right back.
So then, yeah, she finds it. She has to hide it. She has to keep it hidden. Which, like, at the end of the celebration, and all that, she's standing in front of somebody. I'm like, oh no, because I think they probably lined them up by height for TV. And then, she had to bring it to tribal council. I think it's great. I'm very pro this move, just simply because it was great television last night. So yeah, it's already won.
Right,
it's more than the Medallion of Power ever got. And actually, so that's the idol itself. Kelly, we're pro Kelly, right?
Man, like you said, best Kelly episode ever, which, again, low bar.
I believe the stats are already out. This was more confessionals than she received total before now. Which is not surprising.
That does not surprise me, no. She received a very light edit in San Juan del Sur, to be kind about it. Yeah, and I mean, even, she got the eye-rolling scene and the little stifled giggles as Vetus is doing his pelvic thrusts, and
she got the sneaky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way too soon to be calling winners edit, and I think people get overexcited, have to realize that Kelly was going to be a big part of this episode, even if she got medevac tomorrow, right? Because she is the first person to deal with this, twist that I'm very excited about, but is not bad news the way she was portrayed.
No, I mean, you contrast this with Steven's edit, like,
and the contrast was there, right? He's off looking for an idol, looking like an idiot. She's off looking for an idol, looking like $1,000. It's almost as good a contrast as, Andrew Savage felling a tree, and then Savage not breaking a branch.
So, you know what? This gets into one of my absolute favorite things about Survivor. So we should talk about Abby right now, because you just brought up one of my absolute favorite things. The juxtaposition that the Survivor editors do kills me. They're so...
It was fantastic with Abby.
And it was great with Abby. It was good with Savage and with Fishbach with the tree thing. With Abby, though, Abby loses the bracelet. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. And someone says to her, "Oh, you're gonna talk about it?" No, I'm not gonna talk about it. Cutscene. Abby talking to every single other person on her tribe about the bracelet that she's not going to talk about.
And it was interspersed with her continued confessional about how this time she's, it's about personal growth and she's going to, tame the dragon and all this. It's like, that was brilliant. I loved it. That was fantastic by the editors, because it's like here's the thing, that was Abby on her best behavior.
Sad but
what
true.
We saw, all her passive, incredibly aggressive moves towards all of this, that was Abby being nice. And it just tells us that, there was some question going in, at least by myself, and I think a few other people, is if she could improve. If Philippines was completely her, or if she's matured a bit, if some of it was because she tore up her knee and she was, no. Abby's gonna Abby, and if you're into that sort of thing, congratulations. Myself, I remembered why I didn't really enjoy watching her in Philippines.
So, I believe it was you that said in our preseason preview, maybe Abby has matured.
It was.
And I said, Abby's in her mid-30s. You do not mature once you hit your mid-30s.
What fooled me is she seemed to have a good perspective once she was voted out, that indeed there were things that were her mistakes. Interestingly, I didn't believe that perspective this episode. It's like, I made some mistakes. It's like, I don't agree that you actually feel like those were mistakes.
Yes, and one of our commenters on our site, Sharkules, I think it was saying that the producers probably said to her, okay, we have a list of 40 of them. Just give us your top 3 and we'll show the video of them.
Because she didn't really throw the coconut at Mike Scoopin's head. She just carelessly whacked it onto there. It's like she's like wound up. It's like, there you go, you moron. And what could be the journey in that as Philippines is airing and after it aired, she actually did have that moment of clarity because she took a lot of heat and she got to see that, and there was the knee thing. But since then, she's basically been celebrated as one of the great villains and bitches in Survivor history, right? So that's probably where some of the regret went by, and she realizes that she's here because people like her being fiery and doing stuff. But at the same time, I think she realizes that to win, she can't do those things, and it is at least an interesting struggle. I wouldn't mind if that struggle was over next week.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, though. But, I mean, really, though, why is someone stealing your bracelet?
That's the best part of it, is that you could tell that she really thought somebody was after her bracelet. Like, she wouldn't, like, as much as she said benefit of the doubt, like, just, recognize that this is probably just an unfortunate coincidence and things will turn up. It's like, oh, my friggin' bracelet, who's messing with me now?
Yeah. And
interestingly, in a different All-Star season, she would have been right.
Probably true. So, what did she think is going to happen? Like, at some point, 3 days later, suddenly PG's walking around flashing a new bracelet, like, ooh, check me out, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Now, to Abby's credit, she still stayed on PG's team and all that, and she didn't blow things up. But it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when it happens, because it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. It's gonna go down in a spiral really quickly.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if her allies are, noticing that and are willing to cut bait, or if she's able to drag them down with her. So Abby is somebody that I don't love. Let's talk about somebody that we do.
Shireen?
Not yet.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to peek too soon. Varner!
Oh, yes! Oh my God, the Varner show last night. I mean, Kelly, great show for her, but Varner, wow, way to set the bar, right?
He was the star of the television program, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And we've been hyping him since, it became clear that he'd be the star. I don't want to make it sound like we're some kind of genius talent agent or anything like that. But he lived up to it. He was phenomenal. Just every time he spoke, it was great. And we didn't even apparently get his best moment.
Yeah, with him interrupting the tribal council. The confessionals were gold. Everything about him was just great. Every time he's on the scene, or on the screen, he's radiating charm. He's giving these confessionals, which hilariously, he's like, oh, these guys are playing so fast. They're so far ahead of me. We all know that's BS. He already gave pregame interviews where he said, oh, I've been playing already. Here's my alliance. I laid it out. Here's who we're going after. Come on.
No, he's working it all like a violin, including the edit, and it's phenomenal. I love the scene with him and Shireen, where Shireen's going a mile a minute with all the strategy and all that, which, to her credit, she was probably 100% right on. And he's all like, whoa, I'm not prepared for all of this. I don't know anything. I'm glad I'm with y'all. Like, oh, bravo, you're just snowing her over, and I'm sure you're doing the same thing to other people. And apparently he took all of that and then went right back to his alliance to share that information. He is playing hard, and everything he said about it. This is my chance. I'm not messing around. He was choked up when he was first talking to Jeff in the boats. So far the Varner experience is living up to all expectations, and I want 12 more episodes of
it. I mean, if he goes home next week, which, no. But
I don't think it's in the cards at all.
No. But if he did, how quickly would they get him back? Immediately, right?
Yeah.
You don't let that
running Survivor third chances with Jeff Varner, Vetus, and Francesca.
Figure out some reason that he's coming back.
He's so good, and last time we did a podcast, we were like, even if he's the first vote, he's given us so much already. Now it would be crushing if he went home early. There's so much more of Varner to give. And if he does go home, I want it because he played so hard and then he was,
yes,
burned as a result, because that would be entertaining. And frankly, that's more than likely to be what happens.
That will probably be how it goes down.
Unless he wins.
It happens. Yes, which I'm hoping is the case. But, so if it has to happen, I at least want it to be some spectacular flame out. just falling to the sword. No. It's gotta be something magical. Like, he goes for it, goes all in, and boom, blows it up in his face. Then he goes home.
Yeah, I don't want it to be some swap and then he's like the weak guy that Savage and Terry vote out or anything like that. I don't even want it to be like payback for voting out Vetus now. I want it to be much more than that, if it has to happen at all. But right now, I don't want it to happen at all. After one episode, Varner is the person I'm cheering for. And I don't typically cheer for people, so.
Yeah, guy wins you over. He is a puppy wrapped in a kitten blanket and barking out rainbows.
Yeah, he's just fantastic television. And, you know, he was good in Australia. This isn't coming up from anywhere, but I believe the time has helped too, because this means a lot to him, which is fantastic for us because apparently the show means something to us, given what we are doing.
Right.
All right. Speaking of cheering for people, there's probably somebody else you want to talk about.
Yes. Actually, I should let you talk first because I will just bask in the glow of being right on this one. What did you think of Shireen in this episode?
I was incredibly impressed. Yeah, I think she had a great game, or a great night. There's a question whether, you know, it'll be great long term, but that is true of all Survivor moves. She set out to target somebody like Vetus to set up conditions in which she could be in control, and she went after it, and it happened. She made it happen. Obviously, it wasn't a solo effort, but not very few things in Survivor are. No, I'm nothing but positive about what Shireen did last night.
Yeah, she dictated the first vote.
Yep.
Back-to-back seasons, by the way, Shireen was at least partly responsible for dictating the first boot. In your face, haters.
Yeah, I think the haters are probably angry about that. They'd be the people that are arguing. How do you vote out somebody like Vetus? It's like, well, because he's not with her. Yeah, that's all.
And because he's not her.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't behoove Shireen to set up conditions in which, you know, people who are not good at challenges are targets.
Right.
Because that's a group in which she belongs. No, I honestly, not even that I didn't think she was capable of this. I figured this isn't what she would want to do. I wouldn't think that she would want to come out playing so hard. But she did, and it worked. And I am not opposed to people playing hard. Especially not in today's day and age. I am the person who praises the hardest player in the history of Survivor.
Right.
In fact, maybe the two hardest players in the history of Survivor. So, yeah, no, it was, yeah, Fishbach gave her the fishy. I can see that. I think she's did a great job, and I was impressed.
Yeah, I mean, even in my extreme bias, I don't know that I would have given it to her just because I think Wentworth probably had the better episode.
Yeah, but like, who names an award after themselves? Who does that?
Oh, I wanted to do it so bad with us. It doesn't work with the names.
The purple. The rock. Here's the purple rock. Well, I don't want that freaking thing. Get away.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question. Clearly Jeff Varner wearing a purple shirt is a shout out to us, right? There's like no question, right?
Obviously. Oh, speaking of purple shirts.
Aha!
Nice. Thanks for setting me up on that one.
Yes. That's what you get from this audio-visual presentation. We wear costumes.
Yeah, for those who, by the way, are listening to this as audio, I am wearing the Matt Singh Tribe shirt with all of the names, and it's in purple and white because I am team colors tonight.
Yeah. The host of the Purple Rock. But yeah, I mean, I interviewed him in the preseason, so clearly he loved the email exchange so much that he dictated his outfit by that.
Obviously.
So yeah, I think Shireen did great. What do you think this means for her going forward?
I had said before the season that we've never really seen, apart from that after that first episode in Worlds Apart, we haven't really seen Shireen play from a position of power. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to me to see how she deals with it. I mean, this is a first for Spencer too, and
yeah, and Kelly Wentworth. Well, I mean, at least Kelly Wentworth was on a tribe.
Yeah, Kelly had experience with it. I mean, sort of in the same vein as Shireen, where she was in the majority for a vote. But this is a new experience for all of them, and I wonder how they're going to handle it. I actually wonder more about how Spencer's going to handle it than Shireen. I think Shireen is probably used to being in a position of power in everyday life, so I don't know that it'll necessarily screw her game up. I think it might with Spencer though.
Yeah, no, I could see that. My potential red flag is that she gets a little power hungry. And I mean, if it works, then great. Again, I'm all for power games if you can do it. It's just hard. And as we said, swaps are coming. So, is that, she got number 1 on her hit list. You got to imagine Terry Dietz is number 2 on her hit list. And I'm not sure if that's the right move next. I'm not sure it's the wrong move because if anybody is going to come back and hurt, Shireen, Terry might be the one. So I understand why you might want to get rid of him. I'm just not sure if her full alliance is comfortable with that just yet. And hopefully she has the social awareness not to push too hard if that's the case.
So I actually wondered why he wasn't her first target. Again, like you said, there was probably just some pre-game notion. Okay, he's our first target. So he was there. He's their first target. Terry does seem like the more likely target, and you're right, he might be number 2 on the list.
I think what it is Fetus is far more threatening game-wise than Terry.
That's a good point. Terry is a lot more predictable in that sense.
They took out the brains of the operation.
Yeah, and really, that's the way to go. You don't have to worry at all about Wigglesworth or Wu or Terry. So yeah, if that's your choice, really, what they should have done is take out Varner. Good thing they did not.
Yeah, he is perhaps the true brains of the operation.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I think, a thing to watch. I'm not necessarily going to concern Troll about it. I think, she struck first, scored a big win for her side, and it'll be interesting, for the reasons you laid out, to see where it goes from here, because these are success virgins in the game of Survivor.
There's going to be a lot of those this season, though.
That's a great point. I mean, not a lot of superstar successful people here.
Right.
In fact, one of the more successful is somebody who's floundering right now in season 5.
And that's what I was going to say, is even him, he got to the end not really being in a position of dominance for 90% of the game.
Touche.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anybody else you want to talk about?
The only other comments I really had about that tribe is that Terry is still Terry. He said something about how, he's learning that the social game is a big part of the game. No, Terry, that's the game. Like, how is this not clear at this point? It's not, challenges are the game and then you have to talk to people and that's a part of it. Like, no, challenges are window dressing to the social game that's taking place, Terry.
I guess the answer to that is if Terry believes that to be true, that, physical strength and, camp life and all that really doesn't matter, then Terry has no business playing Survivor. The only terms in which Terry can engage Survivor is the ones that he knows. And either that's going to work or it's not. And, I suppose you could argue that it's kind of worked twice. Although I think that's a massive, reduction in what Tom Westman and Mike Holloway actually did.
Right.
But, in Terry's mind, at least. Because, the best he could offer from a social standpoint is a little bit, but it's always going to be physical. In fact, that's probably the level in which he wants to compete. He wants to be Survivor to be this. He wants it to be one way, but it's the other way.
Yeah, and, if this is an entirely social game, much like Terry said in some pregame interviews, he doesn't even belong on that beach. The one thing I did like, though, was that Spencer buttered Terry up in the exact perfect way. Like, I'm pretty sure Spencer was feeding Terry a line about how great it was to be on Terry's tribe. He's such a dominant challenge beast. He's so awesome. Spencer looked up to him, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's Spencer's kind of player, but Terry's going to believe that he's Spencer's kind of player because he knows Spencer's a Survivor fan. So he's like, yeah, of course Spencer loved me. I was great.
Every Survivor fan I've ever met has been a fan of Terry Dietz, which is true of almost every Survivor. Mayanka's probably got a whole people like you are fantastic. Um, yeah, I think that worked because it was Terry. I will say that Spencer's, social interacting with the humans probably needs a little polish. At
That's
least
Rich
judging
coming
from
from
that
us.
scene. It felt a little awkward, a little stilted, and, I can relate. Like he was trying the playbook and he was saying it, and then he kept pushing a little far past the sale, like it was his rehearsed speech as he was going up to Terry Deeds. And it's kind of like, hey, I got it, buddy. You love me and I'm great, and my kids think you're cool. Let's go build a shelter. It's just, I think that there's still some muscles that the young lad needs to work out there.
He's getting there. I mean, to his credit, he's extremely mature for his age, but he's still under 25, and we all know they are the worst.
22! I love that. I love just like, I've learned so much in the year? You've learned nothing, Jon Snow.
Nothing. And it's funny because you will look back on that quote in a few years, Spencer, and just facepalm.
And I should add that he actually probably has matured a great deal since, pre-Game Cagayan. But, there's a long journey, Mr. Spencer. Alright, so I guess we usually predict who's happening, what's going on. We're 0 for 2 to start the season, so it's pretty good so far. I guess 0 for 1. We don't know what our winner picks are on, because
That's true. Not yet.
Luckily avoided predicting Vetus. This is my team.
Yeah, let's do predictions, because I think you and I are both on board with the theory that if it's Takeo again, might be some drama there.
Yeah, so quick ad, we are going to try a new thing on the site where we're going to post the entire Purple Rock Pod website staff's predictions and little chats that we've done to try and figure out these predictions.
Of the chat.
Yes. So this isn't the first time John and I have discussed our predictions, so I can no longer throw out, shocking predictions. The plus side is, yes, because we didn't get to that. Stop showing behind the curtain. The plus side is John has been forced to actually think of this prediction right now. So as I alluded to, it seems like the next target for what looks to be the dominant alliance would be Terry, because Terry does not factor into Shireen's plans, nor should he. Terry is not going to vote for somebody like Shireen to win Survivor. Terry would try to bro up with people on the other side in a swap or merge scenario. So that makes sense. I just don't know if Varner and PG are going to be down with that. And they can go wherever they want to go. They could flip back to the olds, the now strategically less strong olds. And obviously Wu is the olds. Or maybe they could form something in the middle, and that's why I think they might need to be willing to sacrifice somebody, and that somebody is Abby Maria, because she's going to make your life more difficult, especially if you're PG.
Yes.
That's my prediction.
Not even just especially if you're PG. You could have stopped that sentence right there.
Well, from the evidence thus so far at PG, but yes,
okay.
You're right. PG, but the first.
Right. The first of probably many, if she sticks around. And I was in complete agreement with that, because I think Varner and PG seem to have a bond that I did not anticipate. The one thing that I think might happen is the majority of that tribe could just be like, it's Abby Maria this time. Like, we're all in. Like, I don't know that it's going to be one side against the other. It might end up being all of them unanimously voting out Abby Maria. Yeah,
and that could be a good way of patching up the bond and trying to reestablish relationships with everybody in case of emergency or swap scenario. So it's like, this wasn't about us versus you. This is about Vetus, and let me tell you about all the things we heard he was doing, blah, blah, and the way he made us feel and all of that. But we want to work with you, Kelly Wigglesworth. We want to work with you, Wu. And actually, another interesting note, possibly, is Wu seemed to know that there was two ways this vote was going to go at some point. Not a tribal council. That's why he was like, I don't know what's happening. I think, now it could be that he didn't know which way that the Vetus Terry group were going. Maybe they discussed another potential, like Shireen or something. But it could be that maybe Spencer or Abby Maria or Shireen had talked to him about voting out. Okay, maybe not Abby Maria. No, he voted for Abby Maria. They might have talked to him about voting out Vetus, and he didn't know which way things were going. It just sounds like that's something that Wu said in the final tribal council. He said that there's there's been two different targets. One would be more easy, one would be more strategic. So it's possible that Wu still has bonds with that other side, and Wu has a history of being able to jump back to a majority once being blindsided in spectacular facial expression ways.
Us. Yeah, and I think the odds-on favorite for that was Spencer. I mean, I don't know that he's going to have some tight bond with Shireen. I don't know about Wentworth either. I mean, maybe, but not Abby Maria.
Well, one thing I'll say maybe why Abby Maria is that she, in pregame, suggested that, she was attracted to Wu and maybe she could work with him. And in the tribal council, it seemed like she was most hurt by Wu, clearly talking about voting her out.
Yeah, that's Abby Maria, though. Abby gonna Abby.
I think we both think if it's Takeo, it's Abby. Who do you think it is if it's Bayon?
The easy pick would be Cass. We said this before the season. I mean, if you want no pushback whatsoever, it's Cass. But that alpha male alliance, they're going to dictate it. I mean, I think because of the makeup of that group and the presence of Alpha Dad Savage, I think I hate to say this, it's going to be one of the weaker women, because beta nerd that he may be, Steven is not actually that physically inept. I think it might actually be Monica or Cass, and I'll say Monica. Why not? Even though I picked her to go far in this game.
Yeah, I should add that I think they're pronounced Bayon. I'll never remember that throughout this season. Here's a question that kind of leads into the prediction. What do we think how Bayon is going to react that Vetus was the first person taken out?
Other than
think
Sierra?
That affects the way they do it? Well, here's a couple things. A, I think it might make Sierra a little more safe. I think it takes a bit of a target off of Sierra's back. Because I do believe there were people, I'm not saying necessarily Andrew Savage is one of them, but maybe like a Jeremy, maybe a Cass, that was nervous about her because, the Vetus connection and the Brad Culpepper stuff and all that. So that might be off the table, and now she can kind of recede to the background a bit. Another thing is, does this set off the dreaded Women's Alliance alarm that, anytime a strong male goes home in Survivor? It's gonna be a thing. Because in which case that would support your prediction that it's like, okay, we need to take out a woman. And then it's like, well, is Cass the one we need to worry about? Or is it, like, as you say, Monica or something like that?
Right.
Another thing, and then one other way, and this, I'm just cribbing from Rob, has a podcast, I shouldn't say, is that they're like, oh no, now they're going, there's clearly like strategy going down there. And like those nerds took over or something, if they can even piece together why Vetus went home, right?
Nerds!
Yeah. And thus, we may need to take out our own nerd.
Oh.
And that's my prediction. I think it's Steven. If Bayon goes to Tribal Council, I think it's just, there's so much momentum for that. I think they're also the boring tribe that is going to try and not do too much backpedaling. Everybody's trying to put it off for a bit. And it's just like, okay, Steven.
Yeah, and I mean, you can make the case that we actually got to see the beginning of a Steven narrative arc in this episode. So if you started it here, you can finish it next week. But I'm not going to say that Monica can't have an arc that begins and ends in one episode.
Oh, no, I'm not. My prediction is Steven, if it's them, to kind of further the thought we had at the beginning of the discussion, I do think this isn't necessarily that Steven is doomed. Edit. I think it could be, as you suggest with the Cochrane comp, the beginning of Steven's arc of redemption throughout. What I kind of think is happening is Bayon's not going to Tribal Council.
Yeah. I mean, I got that impression too. Why does Takeo seem so inept? They're not really. I mean, they have some people that aren't great at challenges, but so does the other tribe.
Yep. Yeah,
and that
basically both tribes have a lot of fit dudes. And then some less fit women because they're more interesting, right? That's kind of how it shaped out, is that the fans that carried the majority, and frankly the choices we were presented with, liked a lot of the stronger men, and then the women were the more interesting ones. So yeah, I think another balance is Bion has Tasha, and Takeo doesn't have anybody on her level.
Well,
Maybe Wigglesworth. Wigglesworth showed that she is still physically capable. That was a long swim.
right, but for like a pure strength thing,
I mean, she choked in the challenge, but that was more of a strategy thing. Which, quick note, my girl Sierra was the one that was like, just get the pole right. Yeah, and then you'll do it. Don't screw that part up.
Oh, she sounds like Jeff Probst.
That's right. And I think the reason why she did that is that's what her mom did on Redemption Island her season. In the
Shot the pole right?
Yeah. If you believe some exit anyway.
You can't edit that out now.
Ah, no! I'm not suggesting anything. That was John Fincher, and he was a major douchebag about it. But yeah, so I pick Steven, and I just hope that they don't go to tribal council. I think that's Steven's key to success. Surviving until the swap.
Oh, okay.
All right, I think that's the show, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about where these people can find us. You can of course always go to our website, which is purplerockpodcast.com. It's like a mini podcast, only for your eyes. We had a live blog taking place on there. Mark wrote that one for us, and he collects some tweets. He throws in some narrative. And then you can discuss the show immediately after it ends. We have some really good commenters in there that are fun to interact with. We've also got...
So we should just add that we're going to try to make that a regular feature this season. We are going to try on every Wednesday night to provide a home for this community that we have, and because frankly, the interplay that we have with you guys is probably the best part of what we do here, other than getting a chance to hear myself speak. And thus, please, if that's the sort of thing that interests you, if you want to take part in that, come on by on Wednesday nights and continue to comment Thursday when I can finally join you, because I'm on a different time zone and it takes forever to put my kids to bed.
Yeah, and also on that site, if you're into Fantasy Survivor, you might still have some time to go ahead and pick a Fantasy Survivor team. You can pick 4 players. You can see the teams that are already taken. You have to pick 4 people, or a 4-person group that is not already selected. You can find that it's right in one of those featured posts right at the top of the page. What else we got? You can follow us on Twitter at Purple Rock Pod.
Or Purple Rock Andy.
There you go. You can also, hey, why not let's plug our contributors as well. You can find at Purple Rock Emma, at Purple Rock Mark, and at Purple Rock Matt.
You can't really find Matt there, but the others.
You can see that he exists. Don't expect him to tweet at you, but he does exist.
And we should add that for people that are just joining us for this show, that were before, we have moved our website. So it is purplerockpodcast.com, not the WordPress site. We are going to shut that thing down soon because it is screwing up our Google rankings. We are competing with ourselves, and it's not fair. We want to shoot up to number 1 when you search one very specific term, besides Purple Rock Podcast or Rupert Horrible Person.
That was the best search term that I've seen come to our site in a long time.
We are trying to engage a bit more with Tumblr this season, so you can, if that's the sort of thing you're interested, if you're interested in checking out the world of Survivor Tumblr, we are trying to curate it for people, and that is purplerockpodcast.tumblr.com. And that's kind of it, right? This will be on YouTube, and that's probably all we'll have on YouTube.
Yeah. Don't expect a lot of these because honestly, you're only getting this because I happen to be traveling for work. So I do not have kids running all around my house and I can safely do this without interruptions. So
yeah, and I'm mostly doing this because telling my 6-year-old son that I'm doing a video on YouTube is the first thing he's ever gotten excited about my life.
He's going to be so disappointed when he finds out what it is.
I know. He's like, why aren't you talking about Minecraft, Dad?
Also, you're wearing a Superman shirt and you told him you were going to make a YouTube video. He probably thought, like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, he'd be like, why am I not Superman? Which I have that on other places in YouTube. But yeah, no, I think that's all. You can send us emails, but we don't check it that often.
That's your job and you fail at it constantly.
My phone wasn't updating.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We thank everybody for tuning in, and we're really excited about the season, and we're hoping that will continue, because apparently we're not as good at this when we don't like Survivor.
True. One more thing. You should subscribe to us on iTunes, and you should leave pleasant comments, only 5 stars, about how amazing we are, because we love to hear how great we are. We tell ourselves that all the time, but it's nicer to hear it from other people.
Yeah, only if you got good things to say. If you have bad things to say about our show, please leave the comments on our website, because we love that too.
Yes.
It's actually a super fun thing for us when people say bad things about it. We share about it. We laugh, because when you have the level of unearned arrogance that John and I have, you can't deflate that by weird bad comments on the internet. So, bring your hate if you need to. It fuels us.
It's so good.
But yes, you can subscribe on iTunes, or if you're one of those Android people or whatever, we are also on Stitcher.
Yes. And that's
how are we going to end the show? We always play theme music. I don't know what we do.
We just say, hit the theme music.
That's what it's like when a woman wants a baby.